we have to start with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are now down 0-2 to the Boston Celtics. It's the first time in 10 years that LeBron has been down 0-2 to a team. Last time was the 2008 Celtics. That team, as we all know, went on to win a title. I was talking with Tony from No Feelings, and we were discussing how do we view this series, right? And he is a Celtics fan, so he has kind of a biased opinion. I say kind of, I'm trying to be nice. But he gave me a really realistic breakdown, which is he says this team and this series in particular feels like not the 2008 Celtics team that LeBron was down 0-2, but it feels like the 2009 Orlando Magic team that he played in the Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron James, take away game one. We know that's an aberration. He's not going to play that bad in any game. Had a 40-point triple-double. And anyone who defends LeBron James, Colin Cowherd of the world, Nick Wrights, the Shannon Sharps, they're going to tell you, yeah, a 40-point triple-double. What else do you want him to do? And to some degree, they're right. When you have a 40-point triple-double, that is about as much as you can do for a team, theoretically. The big difference is, and why I like the comparison to the 2009 Orlando Magic team that he lost to, let me give you a rundown really quick. The best games LeBron had in that series against the Orlando Magic, he had a 49-point game in game one, lost. Okay. Had a 41-point game in game three, lost. And he had a 44-point game in game four. Oh, he lost that one too. LeBron was great. So if he's that great, why isn't he winning with these outrageous numbers? Brad Stevens and Sam Van Gundy at the time in 2009 are two of the best head coaches in the game of basketball. Right? And they both made a really conscious decision. We will put someone on LeBron who is big enough to theoretically deal with him. And the Magic had Hedo Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis were both 6'10 guys. Now they weren't as strong as who the Celtics are using this year with Marcus Morris, but they were big enough guys to just throw bodies at LeBron. With the full intent knowing you're not stopping him. Great players stop themselves. I'm a firm believer in that. So you're not stopping LeBron James. What you are able to do, though, is have a system in place that will nullify his statistical greatness. The Magic had a system that was a lot like today's NBA, which was Dwight in the middle, 4 3-point shooters. We are going to outsystem the greatness, the individual greatness that is LeBron James. If I were to tell you who's going to end up leading this series in scoring, I'm probably going to take these guys going to lead this series in assists, and they're going to lead this series in rebounds. It's going to be LeBron. And outside of Dwight Howard leading in rebounds in 2009, LeBron did the same thing then. Led that series in points and assists and would have led in rebounds if Dwight Howard was not playing. And even out rebounded Dwight in the game. The even more suspicious thing about this being like 2009, and I do think the Celtics win this series. I think they win this series in 5. I think they get one game on the road despite people are criticizing their road record. I do think they get one, and I think they end up winning game 5 in Boston, right? The bigger note, though, is what happened after 2009. Well, then we started to go into who is going to be LeBron's Miami. Now, yes, he played in 2009, and then he went to, in 2010, he still played for the Cavs, and he lost to the Celtics, but it was all winding down towards the end. LeBron is a free agent this year, and realistically, he was a free agent in 2009. He would have left in 10 anyway. So who is going to be LeBron's Miami? And this is where I want to get into, and I think there's a huge misconception going around that okay, well, he wants to go play with Philly because of Ben Simmons and Embiid, or he wants to go to Houston because of Chris Paul and James Harden, or just whichever. Those are like kind of the fronts. Or he wants to go to LA, and that one's just kind of a consensus. He wants to go to LA just to be in LA. Why though? That's never been the kind of players that are in Philadelphia and Houston are not the kind of players LeBron James has seeked out. Like, take into consideration, LeBron went to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade, dynamic, one-on-one scorer, could get you 25 to 30 points. Went back to Cleveland to get you Kyrie Irving, dynamic player, get you 25 to 30 points. What else does LeBron seem to covet or place on a high importance? Well, I want a big man who can shoot and get me 10 rebounds and can even be a 4 or 5 flex center if I need to, so I can play power forward against certain guys. Well, then I've got Chris Bosh and I've got Kevin Love. With that same logic, why would he go to Philadelphia? Ben Simmons is not a dynamic one-on-one, break him down, get you 25, 30-point player. And are we really just going to put Embiid as just become our new Chris Bosh or Kevin Love? No. Why would you want to go to Houston? Which, as much, and Chris Paul, as anybody that knows me, is my second favorite player in the league. He was my first favorite player for a long time. He's 33, about to be 34. And while he has aged well, and he's the best player besides LeBron of the Banana Boat crew, he's not going to be playing at this high level for the next 2 to 3 years to come. I love him. But Chris Paul is a 33-year-old point guard. Houston also has older Ryan Anderson, getting older Eric Gordon, older Trevor Ariza, and they don't even have that, okay, I want that big man who is able to space the floor and give me rebounds. Yeah, Clint Capella can get you rebounds and he can get play good defense, but he's not spacing the floor for you. So why is LeBron going to Houston? Does anybody really think a Rockets team with legitimately like 3 point guards, if you consider the way Paul, Harden, and LeBron all play, are beating the Warriors? I'm just saying this, and I'm not out here to give you the team that LeBron is going to, or to tell you that, oh, I have some inside information. I don't. But I'm going to go based off your track record, and I'm going to go based off history. And my history shows me LeBron likes dynamic guard, versatile big man. Where do you see that in the league? Let me know where you guys think you see that in the league. Because at the moment, it's kind of fair to say like his best option would be to go to, I don't know, Boston. But far be it for me to suggest he go and play with Kyrie Irving. Just saying, guys. The requirements and the things LeBron looks for are not in Houston. They are not in Philadelphia. I think both teams are great, but that's not what LeBron has defined or showed he wants to go play with. Moving over to the Western side, we have the Warriors and Rockets, and I have said for the better part of the last year and a half, it's not a big difference in between the Warriors and the second best team in the league. It is not a large difference. It is a chasm the size of the Grand Canyon difference in the NBA Finals, or just between them and the second best team in the league. The Warriors are, and I could use every expletive or I could use every superlative depending on which side, if you're a fan or you're an anti-fan of them, calling them all kinds of great or calling them all kinds of swear words. With that being said, I was not one to criticize Kevin Durant for going to Golden State. When LeBron went to Miami, and I've stated this to many people, yes, I was more upset. I was also 15. Right? This is the first time that I feel like Durant going to Golden State actually has hurt the NBA. Like, if you think about it, LeBron went to Miami, and as much as people were angry about, oh yeah, we got him, Bosh, and Wade, and they have this big ceremony, not 2, not 3, not 4, Miami went 2-2 in finals, and the 2 finals they won were extremely competitive. up until the final clinching game. And you can make a case the one they could have lost. I don't think they had any chance of losing to OKC, but they did show a chance of losing to the Spurs, and they did obviously lose to the Spurs one year and also lose to the Mavericks. So they were 2-2 in finals with that 4-year stretch. Well, yes, you would say by far and away the most talented team. They never just dominated the league to the extent Golden State has. If I were to give you a book, and I tell you this book is written like technically perfect. It has an intro. It's got good characters. It's got a strong middle. It has the climax is great. And then the ending is, well, you know what the ending's going to be. This book is technically written. So if it's a horror, or if it's a murder mystery, you buy a couple chapters to go, you're like, all right, I know who did it. If it's a fairy tale book and it's the princess, you kind of realize a couple chapters to go, like, all right, I know what's going to happen now. The NBA and Kevin Durant did to the NBA is turn it into a really predictable book. It's a really sound book. And if you love the game of basketball, I think you enjoyed yourself at multiple points during this NBA season. But if you're looking at it objectively, I could make a case that this book that the NBA has written, it's just predictable. MVP race. James Harden pretty much had it from game one. A couple guys had spurts, but Harden's been the MVP throughout the year. Regular season. Who really watched the regular season on the edge of their seats? I mean, we even had a 1 seed in the East with the Toronto Raptors. Everybody's like, yeah, they're the 1 seed, but we know what's going to happen in the playoffs. We had teams in the West where it's like, okay, if there's a tussle at the bottom to get 6, 7, and 8, but we know none of these teams really going anywhere. The Western Conference Finals were supposed to be the one thing that we're supposed to look forward to. That's supposed to be the climax. This book's climax is supposed to be fantastic. And yeah, some of the games will be good. Some of the games, I expect Houston to get in close in 2 of the games. I expect the games to be well played. Any game with Golden State is going to be a well played game. But we know what's going to happen. And in the finals, they're sweeping Boston. They're sweeping Cleveland if Cleveland finds a way to miraculously make it. The Warriors and Kevin Durant have turned the NBA into this very well-written, well-structured, well-done book, but it's very predictable. It is very basic. It is simply a story we've seen before. We know what's going to happen. There's nothing necessarily new about the style. It is what it is.